In the peaceful village of Umuagu, mornings were gentle, mist drifted above the red earth, palm trees swayed in slow rhythm, and chickens brought each dawn to life. But peace has its enemies, and in this village, they are known as Eke and Nkwo. They are 12 years old best friends, restless, bright, mischievous, and always one step away from disaster. If a goat wandered into the chief's hut wearing beads, it was them. If clay pots exploded at the market, it was them. Yet, the village loved them. At least, tolerated them because their mischief has never been dangerous. Until the night they touched the oracle's shrine. The New Yam festival was approaching. Women sang as they pounded yam. Men cleaned the village square. Children danced around fires. Happiness floated in the air like music. But under that happiness, something darker was being planned. Eke leaned towards Nkwo and whispered, "Let's prank the oracle shrine tonight." Nkwo's eyes widened. "That is forbidden." Eke's smile was fearless. "It's just a prank. No one will know." Midnight came. The moon hung low like an eye refusing to close. Eke and Nkwo crept along the forest path. Fireflies glowed like scattered stars. In their hands, they carried a small bag of red sand. The shrine stood silent and sacred. Wooden marks lined the mud walls. Clay lamps flickered weakly, and in the center, seated on a carved altar, was Arusi, the sacred clay idol, protector of Umuagu, and voice of the ancestors. Only Dibia Okonkwo, the oracle priest, was allowed to touch it. But that night, the two mischievous boys did. With trembling hands, Eke lifted the idol. Nkwo held his breath. They placed the bag of sand where the idol once stood. Then they ran, laughing quietly into the night. At dawn, laughter disappeared from Umuagu. The river stopped flowing. Chickens refused to crow. The sky turned pale and heavy. Even the wind whispered a single word, "Arusi, Arusi." By midday, palm wine turned black and bitter. Children whispered in their dreams with voices that were not theirs. Shadow moved even when people stood still. The elders ran to the shrine. When they saw the idol gone, their faces froze. Dibia Okonkwo fell to his knees. His staff trembled in his hand. "Whoever has done this," he said, voice shaking, "has awakened the spirits that do not forgive." That same night, Eke and Nkwo sat in silence on their mats. No jokes, no laughter, only fear. Then came a knock. Their door creaked open by itself. A tall shadow stepped inside. It had no face, only eyes that glowed like dying embers. Its voice sounded like wind dragging over forgotten graves. "Return what you've stolen, or watch your village turn to dust." Nkwo's hands shook. Eke could not breathe. Then the spirit vanished. Morning came, but sunlight did not. A cold mist covered the village. Babies cried without reason. Goats refused to eat. The village well turned dry and red as blood. The elders gathered everyone in the village square. Dibia Okonkwo held his staff tightly in the center of the village square. "The spirit demands a sacrifice," Dibia Okonkwo said. "If the thief does not step forward, Umuagu will be erased." Mothers held their children close. Drums were silent. Even the wind stood still, and the villagers stood looking, confused, hands folded. Eke looked at Nkwo. Nkwo looked at Eke. For the first time in their lives, mischief felt like death. That night, while the village slept restlessly, the ground shook. Thunder rolled across the cloudless sky. From the forest came the sound of drums. Not human drums, drums no hands played. Drums that sounded like bones striking wood. Eke whispered, "They are calling us." Nkwo whispered back, "Or hunting us." Then, through the mist, a figure appeared, tall, silent, holding Arusi. But how? They had buried it beneath the old Iroko tree. Unless Arusi had returned by itself. The spirit did not speak. It turned and walked towards the forest. Eke and Nkwo followed it. They passed the shrine, past silent huts, into a forest colder than before. Fireflies lit their paths like falling stars. They reached a clearing, a circle of ancient trees and stones. The spirit placed Arusi on a flat rock. Dibia Okonkwo appeared, his chalk-marked face glowing faintly. "You must be judged," he said, "not by me, but by the spirit you've awakened. There will be tests, and you must pass the test before you are forgiven." Test 1 began. Shadows rose from the trees and formed a circle around the boys. "Walk through without speaking. Do not turn back," the spirit whispered. They walked. Shadows brushed their skin like eyes. Voices tempted them to run or lie, but they stayed silent and walked forward. For test 2, a stream of red sand flowed from the earth. "Make it clean," the spirit said to the boys. Eke returned the sand to the bag they once carried. Nkwo fetched white clay from the sacred ground. They scrubbed and washed until red sand became clear water again. For the final test, they were led back to the village square at dawn. Every villager stood there, silent. Nkwo fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his face. "It was us. We took Arusi." Eke stepped forward. "I planned this. Punish me, not the village." A long silence follows. Dibia Okonkwo finally spoke. "Truth is the first sacrifice, but there must be more." Their punishment was announced. They must rebuild the village well. They must clean and restore the shrine. For 7 days, they must serve every household, fetching water, pounding yam, repairing fences, apologizing to every person they had wronged. And on the 7th day, they must return Arusi to the shrine, barefoot and in silence. The boys accepted. That night, they walked. Villagers soon joined them, quietly, sadly, but with hope. By morning, the well was filled with clear water. Palm trees swayed again, farmland restored. The river began to flow with clean water. At sunrise, Eke and Nkwo carried Arusi back to the shrine. They walked barefoot, silent. The entire village followed behind them. They placed Arusi on the altar. Eke spoke. "We returned what we took. We asked for mercy. Please forgive us." The air shifted. The spirit slowly faded like smoke at dawn, and life returned. Children laughed. Drums played. Palm wine tasted sweet again. For 7 days, Eke and Nkwo served the village. They did not complain. On the last day, Dibia Okonkwo tied a small white string around each of their wrists. "This is not magic," he said. "It is a reminder. Never again let foolishness lead the way." The New Year festival finally arrived. Music filled the air. Flowers lined the village paths. Eke and Nkwo sat quietly at the edge of the celebration, watching children dance, elders smile, and life breathed again. Nkwo whispered, "We will never do something like that again." Eke nodded quietly. Some things are not meant to be touched. In the end, Eke and Nkwo learned that even the smallest act of wrongdoing can shake an entire community. Their curiosity and mischief led to suffering, not just for themselves, but for everyone they loved. Yet, when they chose truth, responsibility, and courage, the land was healed and peace returned. This story reminds us that true bravery is admitting when we were wrong, and respect for tradition keeps harmony between people and the world around them. Dear besties, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more African tales. See you in the next one.